Hello everyone, today we're going to be converting fractions, decimals, and percentages. So starting off, what is a percent? A percent is anything out of 100. So for example, 3 out of 100, 70 out of 100, 500 out of 100, these are all percents. So what is a fraction? A fraction is a value that represents parts of a whole. It consists of the numerator and a denominator. So numerator represents how many parts you have. The denominator is how many equal parts the whole is divided into. So what is a decimal? A decimal is a numerical value to represent numbers that are less than 1. It uses a decimal point, 0.5, 4.20, 0.2. Some common ways to write is a percent will always have a percent sign. A decimal will always have a point, so a decimal, 0.25, and then a fraction is anything over 100, so 25 over 100. So a percent. If I'm going to change a percent into a decimal, I'm going to divide by 100. So I'm going to take that percent value and divide that by 100. So 45 divided by 100, that means I would get 0.45. 5 divided by 100, that means I get 0.05. 165 divided by 100, I get 1.65. These are all percents changed into decimal values. So for example, what is the decimal form of 33%? Well, I know I'm going to put that percent value and then divide that by 100, So 33 divided by 100, I would get 0.33. What is the decimal form of 49.2? I'm going to take that percent value, 49.2, and divide that by 100. When I do that, I get 0.492. Now, what if I want to change a percent into a fraction? Well, I'm just going to put that percent value over 100 and simplify. So like, for example, I have 60%. I'm going to put that 60 over 100, and if I simplify, I get 6 over 10. I have a 92 over 100. That's 92%, then put that 92 over 100, and I get 23 over 25. I have 120%. I'm going to put that 120 over 100 and simplify, which is 6 over 5. So here's an example. What is 27% as a fraction? Well, I know I can change that 27 and just put that over 100. That's a fraction. What is 50% as a fraction? I know I could just put that 50 over 100, and that is my fraction value. Now, if I simplified, I would have 25 over 50, and even if I simplified that further, I would have 5 over 10. So decimal to percent. Now I want to have a decimal and make that into a percentage. So to do this, I'm going to multiply by 100 or move to right 2 places. So I have 0.15 times 100. When I do this, I get 15, and now I just put my percent sign. If I have 0.02 times by 100, that is 2%. If I have 1.92 times 100, I get 192%. So here are some examples. What is 0.34 as a percent? I know I'm going to take this percent value and times it by 100. Now I have 34, and I add my percent sign. If I have 88%, I want to make that into a percent, 0.88, I'm going to times that by 100, and that's going to give me 88%. But now, what if I want to change my decimal into a fraction? I'm just going to write that decimal as a fraction over 1, but there's a catch. I'm going to have to move that decimal point. So if I have 1 decimal place, I'm going to put that over 10. If I have 2 decimal places, I'm just going to put that over 100. And if I have 3 decimal places, I'm going to put that over 1,000. So, for example, what is 0.29 as a fraction? I have 29 over 100. Now, let's take a closer look. I know I have 2 places. So that means I'm going to make that into 100 because I have 2 places I can move that decimal. 2 is 100. 2 decimal places is 100. So we're going to put that 29 out of 100. What is 0.6 as a fraction? I only see one decimal place. So that means I'm going to put this decimal value 6 over 10 because I know one decimal place is going to be 10. So it's just knowing where you're going to move that decimal and how many places and what that fraction is going to be when you move it to that place. So now what if I have a fraction and I want to make it into a percent? I'm going to convert the fraction to this decimal form and then I'm going to multiply it by 100. So for example, 1 over 77. I'm going to turn 1 over 77 into its decimal form. That's 0.77. Now I'm going to multiply this by 100, and when I do that, I get 77%. Another example. What is 1 over 8 as a percent? I know I'm going to have to convert this into its decimal form first. So that's 0.8. Now I'm going to times the 0.8 by 100. And when I do that, I get 8%. But now, what if I want to change a fraction into a decimal? The fraction already sets up the problem for us, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So for example, what is 3/4 as a decimal? When I do 3 divided by 4, I know I get 0.75. So that is the decimal form of 3 over 4, 0.75. So what is 10 over 5 as a decimal? Well, 10 divided by 5, I know that this is an improper fraction. 10 over 5 is an improper fraction. So I'm going to put 5 over 10, and when I do that, I get 0.5. I flipped that to be a proper fraction to get a valid decimal. So essentially, some key takeaways is that percent always means out of 100. A fraction is a value that represents parts of a whole. Percent, if I want to change a percent into a fraction, I'm going to put that percent value over 100. When I have a fraction, I want to make that into a decimal, I'm going to divide the numerator by the denominator. And when I have a fraction and I want to make that into a percent, I'm going to turn that into a decimal and multiply by 100. When I have a decimal and I want to make that into a fraction, I'm just going to move the decimal accordingly. So once again, knowing that 1 means 10, 2 is 100, and 3 is 1,000. Look at those decimal places, and that determines what type of fraction it will be. When I have a decimal and percent and vice versa, I'm just going to multiply or divide by 100. And essentially, the main idea of this lesson is converting decimals and percents and fractions are all vice versa of each other. They can use the opposite operation, and even knowing like place values are essential for this. And if you could convert one, you can definitely convert the other. So those are the key takeaways of this lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We went over how to convert decimals, percents, fractions, the rules for them, even defining what a decimal was, defining what a percent was, and defining what a fraction was. So this is Ari, the math tutor, signing out. Check out my other videos, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.